Welcome to International Love Story, a podcast about long distance and multicultural relationships. Mo and Juli are our guests for today's episode, and I don't want to make this intro too long as we are going to talk for quite a while with Juli and Mo. So this is going to be one of our longest podcast episodes so far, but you can't just summarize a relationship of 6 years in 30 minutes. And as you will listen to this episode, so what's going to expect you is us talking about the difficulties of a long distance relationship and a multicultural relationship, and also what to expect when closing the distance, because the work is not done with closing the distance.
Thank you very much for the invitation. We are honored to be here.
Yeah, very exciting to be part of your podcast.
Thank you for your time. So we know that you're super busy lately, but we'll talk about that later. We are super curious who Mo and Juli are. So where are you guys from? What are you doing? Where did you meet? Tell us all about you.
All right, I'm Mo from the northern part of Germany, close to the Danish border. I am 29 years old, going to turn 30 in March, and am married to my beautiful Colombian wife since a long time.
My name is Juli. I'm from Bogota, Colombia, the capital city. I am 35 years. I love dance, create, love my husband, and of course, coaching.
Yeah, before we jump into that, because that's also, of course, a major part of you, and we think it's just amazing the work you're doing. This is how we found you. We found you on Instagram a few months ago already when we started doing the podcast. And I was actually amazed by how many personal things you are sharing and how you're not afraid to talk openly about challenges of long distance relationship couples. And that really inspired me and that really made me think. So I'm so happy that we finally have the chance to welcome you here. And I said it last time already when we had the pre-call, but I really chased you to this moment recording with you guys. So it's so cool to finally have you in our podcast.
I thank you very much.
Very exciting.
Really excited to be part of this and help another couples to understand what is distance relationship, but especially having a multicultural relationship.
Exactly. I think the clue long distance is like a good moment to start telling about how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start.
All right.
Ain't that?
Who wants to tell the story?
You, please.
And to what degree of detail do you want this story?
No, not so many details because this is a podcast, but you, please.
All right. So we actually met in real life. We met in Barcelona in 2014. I was in Barcelona for an internship. I worked there for a month with a company doing kind of like apartments to rent out to tourists and things like that. And I was a little bit in charge of like managing the apartments.
And I was doing there my master of the study that I did. That is part of what I do in my life, but it's not like everything. And we met there in a rooftop.
The story how we met is kind of funny because, of course, going out to nightclubs in Barcelona when you live in Barcelona is a main thing to do at night. And that particular night we met, neither of us actually wanted to go out. I was extremely tired and I wanted to hit the feathers early that day.
And I didn't want to get out because we partied with my friends all the week. And I said, please, I need to rest. But they didn't let me. They took my backpack and I had to go to pick it up because I didn't have the keys of my house. And of course, they catch me, they put me a dress, and they said, we are partying tonight.
For me, it was quite a similar story. I was already in my PJs, ready to hit the feathers, like the whole story. And then it knocked on my door, and one of my best friends, who I actually met in Barcelona too, he knocked on the door and he said, I'm not leaving until you come with me. I was like, well, okay, I guess I don't have a chance. He was like, yeah, you have to come. It's like you're in Barcelona. It's a once in a lifetime experience. So don't miss out on anything you can. And I think basically he was right.
Yeah, and definitely was destiny. We definitely had to meet that night. Bueno, he was already in the rooftop. And when I get there with my friends, I didn't brush my teeth. So I need a gum. So my mouth smelled well, because you never know what can happen in Barcelona in a night. So I saw him, very handsome, I have to say, and tall guy. And I saw him and he was eating gum, and I went to him. Before that, I said to my friend, I'm going to kiss this guy tonight. And after that, I saw him and I said, okay, I'm going to do the first step. And I went there and I said, do you have gum?
Yeah, I mean, indeed, I had gum. I had 2 different flavors of gum. So I whipped them out and I said, sure, what flavor would you like?
He took the 2 gums off his pocket and he was like, what gum do you want?
Yeah.
And of course, I saw them. I didn't like both of the flavors, but I took one. And after that, I started to ask him, okay, where are you from?
And that's where we had our first intercultural conflict, basically, because I was being very, very Northern German in that moment. Barcelona was pretty much my first experience abroad, alone, like really mixing into the people and like going out. And I was being really German.
Yes. So the conversation was like, I asked and you respond.
Okay.
So the conversation was, hey, hello, what is your name?
Maurice.
I didn't understood. So I was like, what?
Maurice.
What?
Mo.
Okay, Mo. And where are you from?
Germany.
And what part of Germany?
Flensburg.
Super. And where is Flensburg?
Close to the Danish border.
I know. So after that, I said, this guy is not interested in me. Like, he really didn't ask absolutely anything. Anything. And I was like, no, okay, I will not kiss this guy.
Yeah.
And I went away.
So I need to interrupt right now. So for everyone who's listening, you can't see Juli right now. She is talking with her hands. She's like, typical Latin American. So cool to see that. But yeah, sorry for interrupting. I just feel like it's very interesting. And it's also very interesting that you, Juli, made the first step, because I feel like after all the couples we talked to, in 80%, it's the woman that makes the first step. And that's so crazy. I don't know if things shifted the last years.
We're more empowered of ourselves. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be.
I think it has to do a lot with the emancipation of women, and that through the emancipation, I think initiative
and empower them over their own self.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that is the most important thing.
So what happened after such a combo?
An amazing multicultural conversation was really the best thing that we have.
Now that I think back, I mean, I have developed my personality quite a lot since that day, and like my international understanding of different cultures and everything. But now thinking back, of course, I was being a typical Northern German guy, you know. Christina, you probably know what I'm talking about in nutshell too.
Yeah. I dated a few Northern German guys, and I'm Northern myself, so I am like this. I was like this. I'm not like this anymore, but I know what you're talking about.
In my case, I think it was more playful, but then again, she was on vacation. She wasn't really under the stress of work or anything.
And I changed my point of view before I went to Miami. So I felt like something changed inside of me. So I wasn't the typical Northern German girl when we met. So it was easier for you. And also I made you drunk, so that's another topic. But yeah.
Good.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right.
So the conversation started not as good as you wish for when starting dating a guy.
Not at all. Like, this was our, like Mo said, our first conflict. It was like, no.
Because at that point, none of us knew anything about the culture of each other.
Right.
And
Pues,
I think if you had known about Northern German guys, maybe you would have understood.
yeah, that's true.
Of course, that is not a very sympathetic culture, I think. You know, if you get to know Northern Germans, we can be very warm and friendly, but cracking them open is difficult.
Exactly. So, okay, after that, we drink something like some wine or beer. I don't remember exactly what was there. And then our friend said, okay, it's time to go to the club. And we share a taxi together. That for me, that was super weird because like he was like very in Spanish. We said very antipático, like not nice guy. And I was like, okay, let's go. So he was in the window. Then we have one of my best friends in the middle, and I was in the other window. And I was talking with another friend in my phone because I was like, I'm going to have a good time, but this guy is not nice, so I'm not going to talk to him again. And our common friend, he was talking, and he's like very social. He's from Holland, and he's very social, and he's like really sympathetic, and so he was very nice. But I was concentrating having my conversation in the phone, and I didn't know since few months ago that Mo was like, he told me that for him was really weird that I was in the phone. No?
Yeah, I mean, of course, now thinking back, I kind of understand, but at that point, I didn't see it that way, you know, kind of like, okay, we were having all a good time and we were all having a good conversation in the taxi. And I was thinking, why is she on her phone and not participating? Another cultural thing, I think.
Exactly, because in Colombia, we use a lot our phones. And I noticed that here in Germany, they don't. Like, it's really nice that you sit in the table and no one use the phone, and you sit in the living room and no one use the phone, and that is really amazing. Like, they respect the moment you are here, you are in the present. And I learned that, but in that time was another conflict.
So it wasn't off to a good start, no?
Yes.
But we arrived in a nightclub, and because we like to dance and everything, like to have a good time, we went into an area that played Latin music exclusively. Mm-hmm. And we were having a good time dancing.
Yeah, and then I saw that the cousin of my friend was very interested in Mo. Because of course I was like, yeah, I am not going to talk to this guy, but for me, he was really handsome. So I wanted to try again, but I saw that the cousin of my friend was interested of him because he was talking to me, asking what he said and how he was when I asked for the gum and everything. So I was like, nah, I'm not going to like talk again with me because really I don't want to be in this woman conflict for a guy. So I said to my girlfriend that let's go to the international part of the club and see what we can catch there.
It's like fishing.
So we went there. Exactly.
Fishing.
And we went there and we didn't saw nothing interesting. So we came back and I decided to order a beer. And I was in the bar and
yeah, well, I saw her, how she ordered her beer, and I was like, all right, let's like see what happens. So I grabbed her hand and asked her, do you want to dance with me?
And I was like, of course, let's go and dance. After that, we danced the whole night. It was really, really nice.
Look at that.
But for me was, again, he was already a little bit drunk, and he started to ask me, okay, where are you from? What is your name? I want to know everything about you. And that was not common when you go and dance in the club, because if you see it in the perspective of I was 28 years, you were partying, I was single, usually you go to clubs and the Spanish are very direct. So if they want to kiss you, they kiss you. And if they want to fuck with you, they say to you, I want to fuck with you. Like they are not like, hi, how are you? What is your name? No, they said, I want to fuck with you. So for me, it was very weird. Please don't think that I'm now like super liberal girl, because indeed I'm not. But for me, it was very weird that he was like, I only want a kiss. And he was like, what is your name? What does your father do? Your mother? What they work? Tell me everything, what they study. And I was like, I only want to kiss this guy. Why he's asking me everything?
Sadly, he knows how to talk.
Yeah. I wanted to talk, but she didn't want to talk anymore. Of course, we had a good conversation. And then I asked her if I was allowed to kiss her.
That was very sweet for me.
And then she said, of course.
Of course, yes.
And we kissed.
And that was the first. He said that he fell in love. I have to be honest, I didn't. For me, it was like, nice guy. And after that, the night was over, and our friend from Holland, he said, he lives near to your house. Can you please take him? He don't know how to get there. And I was like, there is Google Maps? And he was like, no, please take him. And I was like, okay, let's go. So we went walking there and whatever. And when we were there in his building, we were kissing and everything. And then I said, how old are you? And he said, I'm 23. And I was like, oh man, no. Goodbye. I cannot be with him. Like, oh my God, no. I am like, in Spanish, you said it, I am a saltacunas. That means like, how do you say that in English? Like, I don't know, like.
Sugar mama. At that point, Julia had 29 and I was 23.
So I was like, no, this is not correct. So I said, nice to meet you, goodbye. And I went away.
Yeah.
Oh, and you broke his heart. Oh, nice.
Yes. He said,
It
no.
was shattered in 1,000 pieces. And actually, I, of course, asked for a phone number when we were still in the club. And she said, I don't have a phone.
That's true. That's true.
I kind of felt like, okay, she's not interested because your phone was stolen. But your friend made a very good move and connected me with you on Facebook. And then after that night, I wrote her on Facebook, hey, how are you doing? Do you want to meet up, do something? And she always had an excuse not to meet me.
No, that is not true. Like, I have my plans. I was like the first night I have a dinner with friends in my house. The next day I have another party. The next day I have a brunch party. That was like, I have plans.
Exactly. Well, it was true because one day we managed to figure out a time and a place where to meet, and we went on a date together on a Sunday.
Yeah, that was very, very nice, I have to say, very cute for me, because I didn't expect that he said, bueno, let's meet in this point of Barcelona. And then when we met, he brought rosé wine and we went to the beach and we drink there. And I was like, and then again, me, because he was like, he cannot do the first step. I was like, how do you say in German, give me a kiss? And he was like, and he told me. And I was like, okay, so give me a kiss. And he was like, he didn't catch. I was like, give me a kiss.
I know what you're talking about. We were in the same situation. So I made Nacho drunk. And then we were sitting at a nice restaurant. It was a restaurant bar. Yeah, but it was like, it's still our favorite spot in Miami. And we were sitting there and we had something to drink. I couldn't drink that much because I had to drive. And then he was looking like he was sitting next to me, like we're sitting next to each other now, which was super weird for me. I've never made such an experience before, dating a guy the first time. And we were so close already. And then he looked me deep into my eyes and he was like, how do you say, can I kiss you in German? And I was like, kann ich dich küssen? So I didn't think anything. And he was like, how? I was like, kann ich dich küssen? And he was like, kann ich dich küssen? And I was like, what? And he was like, again, kann ich dich küssen? Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't realize either.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice. Very good, Nacho.
Yeah.
Latin Americans, definitely.
But Mo didn't catch up on that.
No, he didn't. And until I said, I am telling you if you give me a kiss. And then he said, yes, of course.
It was a very nice day. It was on the beach, very quiet. We had the W, and on to our right side, it's a hotel.
Mhm.
Like nobody was there. It was a very nice day, very nice night. And then, I think Dame un beso and Dame la mano were the first Spanish sentences that I learned from you.
Yeah. But you have to say it in English because we don't know.
Yeah, that was, of course, Dame un beso is give me a kiss, and Dame la mano is give me your hand.
Exactly. And after that, our story, I think, started definitely. Like after that night, was the last week for Mo in Barcelona.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So for me, that's why I was not in love. And I was like, okay, this guy is super nice, and we party a lot in that week again, and then we like went to restaurants and we were together. But really, for me was like a summer love, nothing else. And then the last night we went party again, and he said, I didn't pack. I have to pack because I'm going in 2 hours. And I was like, okay, let's go to your home, and you pack and then you go.
Yeah.
That part.
Exactly. So my flight back home was the next morning, and we spent the night in the nightclub, and I realized I forgot to pack, and
Very German of you.
we went to my apartment. Yeah, exactly. So we went to my apartment, and I packed, and we talked, and we had a good time. And I was like, okay, can you take me to the train station? Because I was ready to take the train to the airport. And Juli was like, you're not going to make it. Yeah. No way if you take the train now. Yeah. So you called me a taxi. The taxi arrived, and I opened the door. We kissed, of course, very passionately. And I said, te amo.
And I was like, what? Yeah. What are you saying? And I see... we have to explain this part because in Spanish there are a lot of ways to say I love you, te amo. In English you say I love you, but in Spanish, when you say te amo, it's like the highway of love. So I was like, no, I think that you want to say te quiero, like that is like the less level of love. And he was like, no, te amo. I was like, no. Like, do you know what that means? And he said, yes, I love you. And I was like, exactly. I think you're wrong. I didn't say nothing. Being honest, like I said, I was not in love. He took the taxi, and of course we said, okay, we said, very nice to meet you. And he said, you have to come and visit me in Flensburg. And I was like, yeah, okay, we will see. Goodbye. And he went away. And for me, being honest, for me, that was over. Like, what a nice guy, but for me, that was over.
Yeah, but she wrote a letter with the title "Never Forget." Sorry, I interrupted you.
When you said "te amo, Mo," were you aware of the meaning of it?
Yeah, of course, 100%.
You were.
I was super ready to say "I love you."
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about you not doing your luggage, and how I said that's very German of you, but then at the same time, like unconsciously, kind of like you wanted to stay, seems like, or you wanted to lose the flight or the train, or you know, we also have a saying for that in Spanish, and I guess in English or in Deutsch is there's also something similar, which is cabeza de enamorado, or lovely.
The head in love, or something like this.
Yeah, brain in love, kind of.
For me, it was super weird that, like, really, I didn't understood how he could say in 1 week and a half, te amo. I was like, no, this guy is crazy.
But I was ready.
Juli, what you don't know is that normally it takes a long time for a German, no matter if it's male or female, to say te amo. And that te amo, he really felt for you. So he really had strong feelings. And taking into account that he was young, I mean, that was a few years ago. You were 22, you said, right?
23.
23. And 23 is normally an age, especially for men, where you still have to figure out where life is going to lead you. So most probably you're not thinking at all where you see yourself in a couple of years. So, and 23-year-old German guy saying to you "te amo" after 1.5 weeks, this is so crazy.
Yes, totally agree. That's why I couldn't believe that he was feeling that. After few years, like 1 year together, he said, I really meant it. And I was like, okay, but it was difficult to believe it because even from Colombia, when you get older, it's more complicated to say I love you because of course you are more picky with so many things. So for me, it was super difficult to believe that even that I have good relationships and everything in my past, I was like, no, this guy is like, he don't understand the meaning.
He made an impact.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I was totally like, I was like
in shock.
Yes, without words.
But as you said, Nacho, I was ready to lose my passport. Of course, in Europe it doesn't matter, but metaphorically spoken, I was ready to lose my passport and live in Barcelona forever with this woman. I was hoping nobody reminded me of my flight back home. It was a very, very difficult flight, especially because the letter Juli wrote with the title, Never Forget.
Yeah, he really made an impact in that week because he said so many things and he did so many nice things that of course I said, okay, this is a summer love that I will never forget.
It wasn't just a summer love.
Exactly, it was 6 years later, we are here.
So this letter you wrote, Juli, you were describing what a good time you had with him, but without the attention to schedule another meeting because he was living at that time, he was living in Germany and you were still in Barcelona. So you just felt like you have to communicate what you were feeling in those 1.5 weeks. But you didn't think still that you will manage to see each other again.
Exactly, yes. Like I am a person that I have to communicate my feelings, whatever it is. And for me, it was important that he know about that, even though we were not going to see each other again. So yes.
I think it's crazy because thinking about it, you said that there were a few communication problems. I mean, Mo wasn't speaking Spanish. Your English wasn't most probably as good as it's nowadays. And you still managed to communicate. So I feel like the action you took, Mo, in that case, it meant so much more than the words behind it. And Juli felt it. So Juli felt that this is a very special person because he is acting the way what he's saying. So what he says and how he acts.
Yeah, totally.
That's super rare. If you find someone like this, because Nacho is the same, so it took a while for me to trust him, but then I realized everything he says comes with an action. So he really means everything he's saying, 1000%. And that was also the moment I started trusting him 1000%, even though if it took a while, but eventually I got there.
One of the things that I learned with Mo is that you can communicate with silence, talk in silence. Like communications is not only with the body, is not only with words, is with silence too. And I learned that with him, and it's like one of our good things when we go to Colombia and we are with my family or friends, that we can communicate each other through the living room. He is in a corner and I am in the other corner, and we can communicate with silence. And that is very important when you are in a multicultural relationship.
Yeah, so true.
Especially with a German. I think for you too, communication really is extremely important. Communicate in silence.
Mo took his flight back to Germany, and Juli decided to write him a letter. What did you say, or how did you react, Mo, when reading this letter?
Well, I was quite emotional, because I thought I'd never see her again. And then I had this letter, and she was listing all the nice moments and the nice like memories that I had of this very, very amazing time with her in this city. And I was very emotional reading it. And I'm getting emotional right now, actually. Because I thought I'm not very good at goodbyes, and I was not ready to say goodbye.
I was seeing After that, we said goodbye. Mo is like a old guy. Was amazing because when he get to Flensburg and he started to call, like in the past when boys call you, and I was like, this is amazing. Like it's not by chat, so I love it. Like he really didn't wrote me too much. He called me and we talked hours and hours and hours when I was in Barcelona, and I love it because it was like, yeah, like for me, I have to say, plus my English, like you said, was not in this level that I have now. Sometimes I didn't know how to say the word, so I go around an explanation so he know what is the word that I wanted to say, because the English of Mo is very good. My English was, let's say, not good, was normal. Like Mo can understand whatever I said, but I didn't know a lot of vocabulary, and I was really scared. I had in my past issues with my English, so Mo helped me a lot to develop, and I noticed that I knew English better than I thought. I said, okay, this guy is making me a better person in a lot of aspects, and I started to love that. So he said to me, I would like you to come and visit me. But I already had plans with my friends to go to different parts of Europe, because if you come, of course, from Latin America to study to Europe, you usually travel too. So you have to pay everything in the Latin American money of your country, and that is a lot when you convert in euros. So of course you plan everything with a lot of time and blah blah blah. So I said, okay, I can go when I finish my thesis, and then I can be there like a week. But to plan this, I thought about it a lot, because even that he was a good guy and whatever, pues I didn't know where I was going. No one know me. I didn't it was my first time to go to Germany.
And your friends were warning you.
Yeah, like
Germans are not so nice.
Are you sure you want to go? But at the same time, my roommate, that she's a really nice girl, she told me, no, go. I will know where you are. So if something happened, you call me. And I was like, and what? You cannot go there. Like, if something happened, what? And I really was thinking that was the worst thing. I was thinking that he was going to kidnap. I will never see again my family. Like the worst things I thought. I went.
It was not that easy.
No. In our life,
nothing
is easy. Since the beginning, talking was not easy. And going and met him again was not easy, because I went to the airport. Yes, like super happy. And then I went there and they said, you missed the flight. And I was like, no, I didn't miss the flight. Like, look. And they said, this flight was in the morning.
Yeah, they rescheduled the flight.
They rescheduled the
flight.
An
earlier time.
3 hours early. And I was like, they didn't send me anything. And they said, here in the system, they said that yes. And I was like, I don't have my money. I cannot go to see him again. And I was like, I started to cry. And I was like, this is impossible. And then a friend that I have there in Barcelona, he said, I will help you. What do you need? So he booked another ticket, and Mo said, I will pay it. And they said, we have another ticket for the next day, not that day. And I was like, okay. So we did it again, everything. And the next day I went, and finally we met again.
Yeah.
Was very nice. The weather was summer.
Yeah.
Summer in north of Germany.
It was actually very good weather. It was very unusual good weather in that week.
Yeah, that's true. But summer in Flensburg.
Summer in Flensburg is not what you imagine when I use the word summer.
Yes, it's
more like fall.
Oh. Yeah, exactly. And was very cold. So I went there and he showed me everything. He was very nervous because he said, why do I can offer her to come to this town, this city is so little and it doesn't have nothing. And of course, I come from the capital of Colombia and from Barcelona, they have a lot of things. And I said, no, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I want to be with you. In that week, he said to me, I would like to go to a castle and to a lake, and we go and walk my dogs. But my dogs are in the house of my mom. And I was like, okay. Until that time, no one of my family knew about Mo, because for me, Mo was like a summer love, even that we were talking and whatever. I was like, distant relationship, we will not make it, because indeed in my past I have a lot of distant relationship, indeed 3. So I said, one more, this is not going to work. We went to the house of
my mom,
your mom, and I said, no, I'm going to wait in the car, of course. And we get there and he parked and he said, you are not going to get down and come? And I was like, no. Why? Like, your family know about me? And he was like, yes, I showed my mom a photo. I told my mom everything. I was like, what? This guy is crazy.
Moving fast.
Too fast for me, too fast. So it was like, no, why can't I don't understand anything. And he was like, yeah, they want to meet you and my family is there. And I was like, but look how I am dressed. I am not dressed to meet your mom. In my culture, that is very important, how you dress and how you put, and you have to be perfect to meet your mother-in-law. And I was like, no. And he was like, you're perfect.
She met my parents. We were there for like a little bit, and then we took the dogs and went for a nice walk around a very nice castle, a little bit outside of Flensburg.
And of course, being there, they were very nice, and they said, no, let's do a barbecue and all. And that was very nice, but at the same time was too much for me, because I didn't expect nothing of this. And for me, again, was only a summer love. He couldn't say to me, again, communications. He couldn't say to me, we are going to meet my mom. We are going to have a barbecue with my parents. Like, he could communicate, but words is not the thing of Mo.
He did kidnap you.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. Now that you said it, yes. Yes, Mom.
Well, in that week,
we start to talk about it, what is going to happen in the future. We start to talk if we will continue, and I said to him, I don't believe in distant relationship. I already tried 3 times. No, thank you. And I tried, we have to be clear, I tried with the same culture, like with Colombian guys. So I really didn't thought that with another culture, I will make it with 7 hours of difference with the distance. I didn't believe it. Like he said, I wanted to try it. Let's be boyfriends. Let's have a real relationship. And I was like, okay, let's try it. Like I said yes without wanting to say yes.
So much motivation it was difficult. No, I suggested a long distance relationship. It was not a few hours. It was a flight across 2 countries, crossing
the sea.
We began our relationship when you were still in Barcelona.
Yeah. So then after that week, we decided that. So he went to Barcelona again and visited me 1 more week. And after the day that he went back to Flensburg, after that week of visiting me in Barcelona, my father came. I planned with my father to go around Europe to different countries. And one of the countries was Berlin. Germany, city, Berlin. We went there with my father, and Mo was like, and where you are going? Because Mo, you live in Berlin, no?
I lived like in the outskirts of Berlin for 3 years.
So he said, no, I can tell you. And he has the hotel, absolutely everything. And I was like, yeah, we arrived this day, blah, blah, blah. And he said, it's super nice. And then we arrived with my father. Okay, next day we have breakfast. It was a buffet, so I was putting everything in my plate. And then I turned around and Mo was there.
Oh, man.
So I screamed.
Of course.
And I was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, surprise. And I was like...
Of course, I didn't ask all those questions just because I was interested in her and what she was doing. I was planning that all along. I drove 6 hours from Flensburg to Berlin through the night. I was doing car sharing, so I had like 2 strangers in my car from midnight to 6 a.m. from Flensburg or Hamburg to Berlin. Remember the guy on the back seat? It was having the nap of a lifetime. And I was driving, and I slept the first few hours. I slept in Berlin on the street in my car in the backseat. I slept there until I knew that she was going to have her breakfast. So I walked to the hotel and I talked to the receptionist and I was like, hi, I'm here to surprise my girlfriend. And she was a little bit skeptical, She was like, what's the name? And she called the manager and I talked to the manager and I said, look, I would like to surprise her while she's having her breakfast. And they were like, okay, we will let you know as soon as they check in for breakfast. So I was waiting down in the lounge for like an hour or something like that. And then the call came and they said, you can go up now. She's having her breakfast now. And then I went upstairs and there she was with her father. She turned around and she screamed.
But of course, my father didn't know what is happening here. So of course, my father was like, who is this guy? And I was like, no, a friend. And my father, a friend or a boyfriend? And I was like, no, a friend. And my father, And I was like, oh my God. And my father, do you already have breakfast? And more, no. And my father, okay, sit down. I will invite you, friend.
Yeah. And I came prepared. I had presents.
For me, for my father.
I had beer, I had chocolates, I had T-shirts, I had everything.
And after breakfast, okay, let's plan where we are going to do. And we did the free walking tour through Berlin. And then we were in the river and there was a bar and we sit there and Mo brought a bottle of rum that is the typical rum of Flensburg. And my father said, okay, let's try this rum. And we sit there and my father was like, okay, Mo, what do you want with my girl? And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, the Latin American confrontation of the future son-in-law.
And that was the first time that my father did something like that with my ex-boyfriend. He never did that. And he was like, okay. So he started to ask very specific questions. For example, okay, what do you want with my daughter? What do you think about the different cultures? And Mo responded very well at that question.
It was like a job interview. And he asked me, what will you do when my daughter gets old?
And ugly. Because she's older than you, so she will get fat and ugly. So what will happen there? And I was like, hey, I am here. And he was like, yes, but that is true. You will get fat and ugly. So he's almost 6 years younger than you. So, of course, you are going to go with another younger girl. Right.
I said I get old, fat, and ugly too. And he liked that answer. So I was approved by Nachito. By the way, my father-in-law's name is Ignacio too.
Like you, Nacho. So yeah, that was very interesting because I still didn't, for me, this was still a summer love. I didn't understand why my father was asking these questions, why Mo was there. For me, it was very unreal, all this situation.
Yeah. We had a good time in Berlin.
And then we said that was a weekend, 2 days, and then we said goodbye.
That was the goodbye, I'm going back to Colombia, not the goodbye, I'm going back to Spain. There was the distance increased significantly. And we stayed in contact. We talked a lot on the phone. We figured everything out with the time difference.
And then come December 2014.
Yeah, that was still 2014. At that time, We had met in May, and now it's December.
And okay, was the first time that Mo came to Colombia?
That was the first time I traveled to Latin America in general, and my mom was extremely concerned for my safety.
Yeah, we have to be honest. Even that we try nowadays to show Colombia in another way. Of course, there is still the issue of a lot of things that like is not what it is Colombia. So
yeah, but I was like, I want to go. I want to spend December and Christmas, New Year's in Colombia with Juli and her family.
So then they came the other conflicts. So welcome to the conflicts of the family. Colombian family culture. So the first issue was like, again, I was 29 and Mo was 23. And in the Colombian family, you cannot sleep. Pues that doesn't, it's not like the 80% we can set it. When you get out of home is when you usually get married or you are like 30, 35, but you live with your parents a lot of years because living alone is expensive. So in Colombia, like you get out of school, you study your new university, your master, and after that you work some years, and after that you live alone. So I was living with my father, and then he said, "Oh, very nice that he's going to come and visit you, but where he's going to stay?" And I was like, "Here with me." No way, you're not going to sleep with him.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm 29. I've already lived 5 years alone in my life. 6 with Barcelona. What are you saying? And he was like, this is not a motel. You are not going to sleep with him here in my home. And this is my home, and you do what I say. Thank you very much. That's so. Another conflict. So of course I have a very nice uncle, and he said, your father's the brother of my father. Your father said, no, come to my house. And indeed, my father, like, we moved my bed with my father to the house of his brother, so Mo and I, we can stay there.
Yeah, that was very nice.
And your father was okay with that?
It was not in his house, so
Yes.
I think it was okay. Her uncle, he's very liberal, and he was like, no problem, come and live in my house today. That was very funny that my father-in-law actually moved Juli's bed to his brother's house, but he didn't want me to stay in his own house. That was like very, very funny.
Yes, and he even helped me to decorate the room with balloons and everything. I don't understand my father, but he did that. After that, start all the new things for Mo, like,
it was a great, very great experience. I really fell in love with Colombia and everything, and the people and the culture. And Colombia is a beautiful country.
like, for example, how to say hello to people. Like here in Germany, you usually give the hand. In Colombia, you have to kiss a cheek. So you have to do, and you have to do the sound. Mwah, and Mo was like practicing with me. How to do mwah and kiss to all my family, that he had to talk. I was like, you have to talk and you have to ask questions. You cannot say no. And like all the new experience of so much person talking at the same time, so much music, so much people, all these cultural things he was experienced. I think even he get sick of eating so many new things. So of course was an amazing month, but at the same time have the issues, the things that are complicated in a multicultural relationship, because he was like, we were in the beach with my family to celebrate 39 and 31, sorry. He was like, but why all the people came and sit with us? No, they should go. And I was like, no. And he was like, why they say hello and stay and talk? And he was like really in conflict with that. Like he didn't understand the parts.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a big contrast to my culture, you know. It was friends of the family or friends of the cousin, or I don't really remember exactly, but they came and they said hi, and they stayed for hours and hours, and they talked without like stopping. And I was like, reading my book, enjoying the Colombian coast, the hot weather, and and I was like, I need to relax. Yeah. That was a very interesting experience too.
Yeah.
So I was not used to people being so extremely social.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you're saying that, because I feel the same. It got a little bit better during the years, but I'm feeling comfortable when I have my personal space, at least for a few hours a day. And I can't be with people all the time because it's just like taking so much energy. I love to see people. I love to meet people, but hanging out with people all the time is just taking too much energy. I would feel like, okay, now I need to recharge. And of course, they deserve all the attention, but then it can be a little bit too much, especially for us Germans, to have many, many people surrounding you, asking so many questions. Everyone wants to talk to you, and you're like, wait, I'm not used to that. What's gonna happen now? What am I supposed to say? What's gonna be next? And when are you leaving? Leave me alone.
Plus, like the 80% was in Spanish. So, and Mo didn't
I didn't know
Spanish at that time.
No, I did not know Spanish.
So for him was really too much. So after that, he went away of that experience. And then again, Mo moved and he went to live to Chicago.
Oh.
Yeah. So I went back to Germany. At that point in time, I was actually still studying, and I got a scholarship to live in Chicago and live and study and work in Chicago. So I went there, which meant that now this was actually an improvement for our relationship, because now at least we were in the same time zone.
Yeah. Before, we only talked, we wrote a lot, being honest, when he was living in Germany and I was in Colombia. And we tell everything, like, really, what do you have for breakfast? Every detail that we can share, we share it by text. But we didn't talk too much because the time zones were too big and I was working when he was going to sleep. So it was very, very difficult to talk by phone unless it was very urgent or whatever. What we did was like one per week, usually was on Sunday. We talked by FaceTime. 1 or 2 hours, and that was all. Like, that changed a lot when Mo went to Chicago, because of course we were in the same time zone and we met several times in Miami, in Chicago. We traveled much more. We tried to, like, every 3 months to see each other.
Yeah. That was very, very big advantage, a very big improvement for our relationship. We met like more frequently. We were closer.
Yeah, but even that, let's be honest, we have a lot of conflicts of distance. In my culture, guys are like, they flirt a lot with women. Doesn't matter if it's young or very old, guys flirt a lot. With distant relationship and Mo, I was very insecure about that. And plus, I have in the past my ex-boyfriend, so I was very, very insecure. So being honest, I end the relationship a lot of times. I was like, no, this is impossible. I cannot make it anymore. Whatever conflict that we have, I was like, this is over. I cannot do it. This is too much for me. Like, I was not 100% sure about us. Mm-hmm. And was Mo the one that is like, we can do it. This is different. You will see when we live together. And I was like, but when is that? And plus, I have to be honest, my age was like another thing, because we have that conversation. Hey, so look, I don't want to lose my time with you. This is only summer love, but don't make me have a relationship, distant relationship. And then after 1 year or 2 years, you say goodbye and I have to start again. Another year to meet a man, and another year to have a relationship, and another year to get married, 3 more years to have a baby. But that was a conflict.
Sorry for interrupting, but this can be very toxic as well. This is, of course, a woman's thing. And I am 29 now, so I'm going to turn 30. And I exactly know what you're talking about. And I feel like it's weird to think that way. And we are totally aware that you shouldn't think that way, that you should enjoy the moment. But then it's something in your head. If you really want to have a family, of course, not every woman wants to to settle. Not every woman wants to have babies or kids in general. But if you want to have a family, this is gonna follow you. And that's somehow, I mean, maybe it's normal, but it can be very difficult to deal with that, especially in your case, as there's an age difference. And you made some experience before Juli already, and it didn't end well, those long distance relationships. I can totally understand that you were adopting the relationship and that you had a few concerns when starting dating. But what happened? How did he convince you after all? So he was basically telling you, hey, it will be all right. Soon we will live together. You'll be fine. We will be fine. So he was the positive, if you could say so, in the relationship? Or did something happen where you realized, okay, yes, he's serious with me?
I have to be honest, like Mo, since the beginning, he was serious with me. And what he said is what he meant and how he acted. Like the head, the mouth, what he think, what he talk, and what he feel, was in the same line. So for me, there was a plus in Mo, because of course not everyone showed that kind of things, and that was very important for me, that he was very young, plus a 23 man in Colombia. It's totally different from a 23-year man of like a German man. It's totally different. Even my friends were the one that said to me, like, you are with a 23-year guy, what are you thinking in your life? You know, like society is here again. So what's very difficult to manage society and to manage distance and to manage the part of touching each other, like a hug, a kiss. There was nothing. There was, in the distant relationship, you don't have that. And that is very difficult and it's very important in a distant relationship. So how you communicate that touch that you don't have, that kiss that you don't have, that sex that you don't have, is very difficult. And I think that when you start to talk, to communicate, I said communication is extremely important. And Mo is the opposite of me. Like you can see, when people cannot see, but Mo is very calm, and I am like super energetic and super like talk with my hands. And Mo is the totally opposite of me. So he showed me the world in another way. And still, I learn every day something about Mo, how he is, and how I can change something about myself that I don't like. And at the same time, he did the same, no? Like he didn't talk before, and now he don't stop when he talks. And he asked questions before no. So that is very, very, very nice.
Yeah. I mean, what I just did was I just painted the picture of the future. I tried to, like, when we were at that time that we were about to break up, or when Juli had broken up with me again.
Like the 100 times.
And of course I was like imagining a future, and I was dreaming of how interesting my life would be. I have to say I was being a little bit self-centered, or like working towards what I was dreaming of, this interesting life with this interesting woman, this life that nobody I knew ever had lived before. So I was painting a picture of the future, and I just tried to convince her to not break up, or to reverse the breakup.
How did it make you feel? I mean, it happened not only one time, it happened a couple of times, and that Juli was about to break up, or she broke up, and you basically talked her into the relationship again. But I can only imagine that it took a lot of energy and a lot of talking, not only to convince her, but you were always in the situation of putting a lot of effort in the relationship. Wasn't there a moment where you were thinking, okay, is this really going to be the last time this is going to happen? Or how many times is this supposed to happen? Like, where did you get your energy?
I would say it was when Juli broke up, it was because it was extremely difficult to be in that distance relationship for such a long time. And I knew that she was putting the same work and the same effort and the same emotion and everything into this relationship. And I knew that she didn't break up because out of a bad mood or something like that, but because this distance thing is very tiring and takes a lot of effort and commitment. And I knew that she was doing the same thing and that she would do the same thing for me if I was in her position. It's we both worked equally hard to make this work, I would say, in our own ways.
Yeah. He showed me again, he told me that kind of effort that both of us we were making, or he said, look, you did this, so why you cannot, like, you can do it again. And he was all the time offering me a future, even that was not near, because he was studying in Chicago and working in Chicago. He was like, look, this could be possible in this time or in this time. And I was like, okay, I will wait a little bit more. So it's like, in distant relationship, first you have to have a lot of agreements. Second of all, you have to negotiate a lot. And third, you really have to make an effort. Sometimes you have to do things that you don't like for the person that you love. And that is a big effort. That is something that you have to understand since the beginning, especially if you are in the distance. Like on Sundays, usually I ate with all my family and we went to the house of my aunt or whatever with my uncles and cousins. And that is like a time that I have to talk with Mo. So it's like, or being with my family or talking with Mo. You have to understand that you sometimes have to leave some things to have another thing. And that is what you are dealing every day in a distant relationship, especially the person that take the decision to go and live in another country is doing. In the case of Nacho and I, every day we're dealing to be with the love of our life. We left our family, we left our culture, we left our music, our language, our food. We left absolutely everything because love, and it's worth it totally. But sometimes it's difficult, and the partner have to understand that all the time. And at the same time, when you are in a distant relationship, it's the same thing. Like family and friends have to understand that, and if they don't understand that, they you should not be near to them.
That is another thing. We were not only living in a distance relationship, we were from different countries, different continents, different languages, different age, and
different culture.
We were facing a lot of
different religions.
Different religion, basically, yes. We were facing a lot of problems socially. People did not accept our relationship because we were different ages, because Juli is older than me, because nobody had ever lived this relationship in the circles that I knew, and
because how you knew what you knew about Colombians, what you knew about Germans in the past of Colombia, his danger, and like all these things that TV, books, sometimes or radio show that is not the truth.
Mo was able to meet Juli's family. It was a little bit overwhelming for you, Mo. And as you said, you had to deal with a lot of stereotypes. So not everyone was pleased that you are in a long distance relationship, that you are dating someone who is younger than you, Juli. So it seems like there were a lot of conflicts, but you were strong enough to stick together, even though if there were some doubts. You talked it out. Mo convinced you a couple of times, Juli, already that this can work. And how did you make it work after all?
Well, after 2 years and 2 months of long distance relationship between a couple of countries, a couple of time zones, my time in Chicago was over and I went back to Germany. And I asked Juli if she wanted to come and live with me in Germany and give it a try and see if she liked it and learn the language and get to know the culture and everything. And she did.
That time of my life, I was very unhappy with my work, with my career, what I was doing. So I said, why not? Let's give it a shot. I have a plus at the same time to manage or understand a little bit multicultural relationships, because my uncles and aunts have multicultural relationships. Because of that, I learned since I was a child how to do some things about that. My family at the same time live in different parts of the world, so I am very open-minded to get out of my comfort zone. Even that one of my aunts said, don't do it. This is very difficult. If you go and come back will be almost impossible, because you will not belong there. Will not belong here. Think about it. And if you said a yes, it's a yes forever. And you have to think about that. So I did it. I said, why not? Let's try it and get out of my comfort zone again. In my past, my priority always was my work and my profession. And I decided for the first time to put first in my life love. So I decided to come to Germany.
And she came. And it was a very difficult start.
Which year was it and which month?
September 1st.
Okay. Very good memory.
Yeah.
September 1st. And they did not give you the visa until like a week before your flight.
Yes.
Wow.
Let's say it, you have to fight for a visa, because Colombia needs visa for everything.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you need a visa. So it was very difficult. We started to do papers, and I get very stressed. Like, there was another moment that we have a conflict, and I said, I am not going to Germany anymore. Because really, Germany is the country of papers.
Yeah,
I know.
Paper after paper after paper. So I said to Mo, look, do this once, and after that you have to be in charge of this. I will never do it again. So it was very, very difficult. And I started in February of that year to start to ask for my visa and papers and the other thing. I said, I am going this day. I don't remember, in August 20 or something like that. And they did give me the visa on August 19. Wow. So of course I didn't buy in that day, I didn't buy the ticket.
Yeah.
So they gave me the visa and I brought the ticket. I came to Germany.
That was 2016. So you started dating in 2014. In 2016, you closed 2 years, and 2 months later, you closed the distance. Finally.
Yes, finally, not knowing if we were going to close it forever, because at the same time, I only have a visa to study 6 months in Germany.
Yeah.
So we have the possibility to go, like, I have to go back to Colombia. Mm-hmm. So yeah, was like, okay. And I was like, let's try it. I am not 100% sure if I am going to stay in Germany, because I don't know the language, I don't know anything. Mm-hmm. So I came here, and the start was a catastrophe.
It was not sunshine and flowers at all.
No. Like, again, again, Nachi boy, my father, appeared, and he was like, okay, before you go, we have to meet who are the parents of Mo. So we did a FaceTime, and my father was like, okay, I want to know if something happened to my girl, you will be there. And he was like, I am older than Mo. This is like really terrible what is happening.
Aww.
So like, they were very nice, and they were like, yes, we support them, and if something happened, of course we will, like, if they end the relationship, we will help Juli to go back to Colombia. And that week before, even the same day that I was traveling, in the morning, my best friend came, and I was crying, and I was like, no, I am not going to Germany. I'm going to stay. I'm not going. And I was crying, because I was extremely scared to came to Germany and lived with Mo, with a guy that I only knew a little bit, like face to face, a lot by phone, but not face to face. In that 2 years and 2 months,
we were like 2 or 3 months together in total. So we didn't really know each other very well.
So of course I was like, what I am doing, I am not going to take that plane. And when I took it, on the way to the airport, my father said to me, remember, Juli, I don't talk, but more really don't talk. And you talk a lot. Don't forget that.
Very interesting. That's actually something that I didn't know yet, was that you were crying and that you were super scared, because I remember how that day I talked to your cousin who brought you to the airport too. And she was like, no, Juli's super excited. She's very happy to go. So this is like a different story that I hear now too.
You see, he still learned about our story. So took the flight and everything, and I get here. Mo picked me up. He was very nice. He had flowers and welcome in Spanish and a photo of us. It was very nice. The night came, and both of us start to talk, and we start to cry. And we cried that night, the whole night, because we were so scared about the step that we were taking. Mo was like, I feel that this is too much for me, too much responsibility. And I was like, I feel that I don't know anything, and I don't know how to manage the language. If I get lost, what I am going to do. That night we cried all night, like both.
Yeah, because all of a sudden a dream came true, and you were kind of living the dream, and then you realized you have a person now here who you have to take care of, because she doesn't know German, she doesn't know the culture. And it really hit me, and I was like, it came to the realization that, wow, this is a really big step. And you as well.
Yeah, as well. Like that for me, like was too much.
Yeah.
Like this is happening now, so.
Exactly. It was like, oh my God. And after that, 4 days after I came, I started my German classes. The first class, they asked me, what is your name? And I have to say something. I was with persons that they didn't talk at all English. Like we were like 15 and no one talked English, not even the teacher, no one. I was the only woman in that class. And like, wie heißt du? What is your name? And I was like, what they are saying? And they were saying names that I didn't knew that was a name. So I was like, oh my God, I don't understand anything. And they were like, and how old are you? And then I knew that in German you said the name, the numbers in the other side way. And I was like, I came to what I am doing here. So the first week was very difficult for me. The weather started to be very cold. Then I don't understand anything. So I was recording all my classes. And after 4 hours, I came home and I was like, Mo, can you hear my class? I didn't understand anything.
Oh.
So I literally.
So I was translating a lot of German classes.
And Mo was like, I don't understand that. I don't remember that part in German.
Plus, I don't know any grammar. I don't know anything. I talk and write and speak German pretty well, I assume, but I cannot teach it. I don't understand it.
The grammar is very difficult in German. So I was like, I don't understand this one. And like that started our life in Germany. We were living in a very little apartment. We started from zero. Mo was studying and he was working in 3 jobs. I was studying and my visa don't let me work at all. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So I came with my saves. After that, I started to like say things in German, but not a lot. And then come a period that was extremely difficult because the sun come out at 9 a.m. and go away at 3 p.m. And that for me, that was extreme. Like I really have conflict with that. I start to hate Germany. We end once the relationship again. I was living here.
Yes, we actually ended it more than once.
Because I said it again.
Because Juli broke up a few times with me. And she actually packed her suitcase.
No, yes, like for me was Anne, and I packed absolutely everything. I said, I'm coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, she packed her suitcase a couple of times, always because there was some kind of cultural misunderstanding or language mistakes or misunderstandings.
Especially the misunderstanding was because we talk in English, but the way sometimes that you say what you want to say in your language, in your culture, is normal. But if you say it in that way to the other person that is from another culture, sometimes that is not nice. That is a problem.
Yeah, it's like you can really end up in pretty serious fights over things that can be figured out by just paraphrasing or repeating and asking, did I understand it correctly, and things like that. So she packed her suitcase a few times. I unpacked her suitcase a few times.
But being honest, not because he said you are not going, no, because we again talk about it, again understand that what he wanted to say or what I wanted to say was another thing, and this was because the way our cultures and English and blah blah blah. Yeah. So he said, I said okay, and he said okay, you stay, I unpack, and I was like okay, you unpack, thank you.
Yeah. So it was off another difficult start.
But it was not too much, only twice.
Yeah, twice.
And was it all in Flensburg?
In Flensburg, yeah, that's where we started out. Because when I came back to Germany, I went back to my hometown, and I started another career, like studying again. So that was another very difficult situation for us because Juli was not allowed to work, and I was a student working 3 jobs, like three small jobs on the side. So financially, we were not in a very good spot.
Exactly.
Right, and she was quite alone. I bet.
Yes, I was like. At the same time, my mother-in-law presented me a very nice Latin woman, and she helped me, and we are friends still now, and we met more friends, and that helped me a lot. Because being honest, forgive me both of you that you are German, but sometimes you have to talk shit about Germany. Because you have to, like, you need to express yourself and like take it out. And for that was a very nice thing to meet the Latin girls, because some of them were with German men, so like we started to talk about it, and you start to feel that you were not the only one, that there are more people like you, there are more people that feel the same feelings, that this is not easy, that making this step is not for everyone. And only the persons that are strong enough can do it and can make it. Because this is difficult, very difficult.
And as well, I have to say that you don't have, like, you can become strong enough. No, you can really make it if you put the work and the commitment and all the strategies that we have developed over the time. If you really put it to work, everyone can do it if you put in, or if you are committed enough.
Yes.
And it was a good thing to meet all these couples that had been living in Germany since longer already, that were in the same situation like us, or that they had met in Germany and things like that. So that was the first time that I realized as well that we are not unique. We are not the only ones.
Exactly. And that this will never stop. Like, you every day have to commit yourself in this relationship, that you every day can have a fight, that you every day will have a conflict with Rat House, that you City Halls, that you that you like, that is the bad things, but at the same time the good things is that you every day have something that you don't have in the same, when you are with a person that is with your same culture, is that you every day learn something new, a word, something about the culture, something about you like, something that you don't like, something about the personality, the language, the whatever. So that is a plus too.
And as well, you learn a lot about yourself. Like living in another culture really makes you learn about your own culture as well. Makes you realize a lot of your own things, that you get to know yourself very well as well, living in that culture.
Yeah, and like at the same time, you have to be open. You have to be open to meet persons everywhere. I met a couple getting out of the supermarket. I met another friend in a restaurant. Like things that you usually will not do in your own country, you will do it in another country. And that is the good thing living abroad.
I think like the community amongst immigrants is very strong, and like especially because I know like a lot about the Latin American immigration community in Germany. I think this team spirit of, I don't know you, but we are in the same situation, so we are friends now and you can't do anything about it. I think that's beautiful. And I actually have a lot of Latino friends here now. I mean, we moved like 2 years ago. We moved to again to Bavaria, across the country, and here indeed I nearly exclusively have Latino friends because of that community.
Yeah, that's true.
You know. Well.
So yes, Mo is more Colombian. I am more German now. We definitely, this work, like I said, because what works for us, but doesn't mean that work for every multicultural relationship, because every person is different, is that we negotiate a lot.
Mm-hmm. And that would also be your advice to everyone who's in a long distance relationship: negotiation, meeting in the middle.
Before that, I will say something that is like our phrase, like that is, nothing is obvious. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And even that is for you is obvious, for the other person is not. So I will say that is the first one, and then I will say communication, and then I will say negotiation.
Yeah, especially in a long distance relationship, when you haven't closed the distance yet, it is very important to be committed to certain dates that you set for, like, let's talk on Sunday at 3 p.m. or whatever, and then make that commitment to be there and to talk and to communicate well and to really speak what is on your mind. I mean, it's like when you are watching a football game on the radio, you know, you cannot see what the other person or what the team is doing, so you have to describe it. Okay, and don't leave out anything. Don't leave out any details, because your partner can't see you during your day. You know.
Yeah, and if it's difficult sometimes to live with your own family, brother, siblings, or mom and dad, it's difficult to live with a person that is from another culture.
Yeah, and closing the distance is a dream that can come reality if you are brave enough to take this step. And as well, I think for me, it's very important to share this piece of information, that it is not all sunshine and flowers. It is work, commitment. It is very much learning about each other, about yourself.
Accepting.
And especially if you do not speak the same language, or if your partner is immigrating to a country where they don't know the language, do not get tired of supporting them throughout their day, or like official appointments with City Hall and things like that. Do not get tired of translating.
Do not get tired of being the support.
Exactly.
It's very difficult to support, but do not, like, you need that. And that's why sometimes taking your own space and talk bad about your husband or wife is important, because this is not easy. And that doesn't mean that you are a bad person. That is the reality.
Yeah, you can get tired of a country that you live in if you are not born in that country, if you didn't grow up in that country. And it's okay to get tired of it, and it's okay to talk bad about it. I am very open to hear a lot of Latinos talk terribly about Germany when they need it. And I'm like listening and listening and listening. And they were like, but Mo, don't worry. We love living in Germany. We just need to talk shit right now. Okay. And that is a part that you have to learn too. You know, you have to learn that only because your culture does it a way doesn't mean it's the best way, you know?
And it's also not against you as a person. It's more or less the circumstances you have to deal with in that very moment. And of course, it's overwhelming because it's not only the weather that's completely different. It's also the people, especially in the north of German, people so we say, and we are totally aware of it, we're Northern Germans, because I'm from the north of Germany as well, that we are cold. And we are cold, we know that, but it's fine for us. But then everyone is able to deal with it. And it takes a lot of time to get like friends with us and to get used to us. Because in the beginning, we are always like, as you, Mo, just answering questions, but it's difficult to have a real conversation with a Northern German person. So I just love the fact that it somehow changed and you somehow, as you said, met in the middle and made a few negotiations here and there. But this is the way you made it work. You talked it out. You were completely honest the whole time, even though Juli packed her things 2 times already. And Mo was able to unpack it and to convince her to stay, which I love. I love that you're so honest. And I love that you're like, okay, we move together and now everything is perfect and we live the dream, because this is not what it is. You still work on the relationship. You still have to deal with so many things. You still don't know where are you going to live in a few years, what is going to come next. And I don't know. I mean, especially in your situation, Juli moved to Germany knowing that it could be that she has to leave after 6 months. And how did you make it work to stay longer, may I ask? So, because I guess this is something that a lot of people would be interested in. Like, what happened after those 6 months?
So after that 6 months, thanks to my mother-in-law, she found me a job in the university to teach about design. And that helped me, not with the visa, but that helped me to meet a professor. And I started to apply to a PhD. And they gave it to me and I started to work, and then I have a visa to do my PhD here in Germany. So they give me a visa for 1 year. So that visa helped me at the same time a lot to have a mini job. That was another thing that was Flensburg was difficult for me, because this job was nothing at all what I studied or what I wanted to become. But you do another thing for love, and I did this because I wanted to be with Mo, and I started to work in operations, making cigarette boxes, 8 hours.
Yeah,
very nice.
Flensburg, really the start of us closing the distance was a very, very tough journey, especially for Juli, because she's a very creative person, and all her life she had studied design and she had worked in photo production and fashion design and things like that. And all of a sudden she moves from a city with 11 million people to a city with 90,000 inhabitants to start working in a factory in front of a machine as well during night shift for a long time. And that really took a toll on Juli's happiness as well. on her energy and things like that. That even I asked a few times, like, what is happening? Like, you are so quiet, you're not yourself. And I think the start, we were given a lot of opportunities. Of course, we are happy that my father managed to get her that job, and that we were able to move to a bigger apartment. Then we moved to a one-room apartment to a two-room apartment, and definitely having an income was very, very helpful. But it took a big toll on Juli's happiness, on her personality.
Yeah, like was very difficult. I was working in the night from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Plus then I have to study, to do my PhD. I was not like, I wake up, I study, and then I didn't saw, like, I saw the light of the day, like only 1 hour maybe, or 24 hours I didn't saw it. More, I didn't saw more too much, and I don't regret that. Like, that made me myself much more stronger. I knew myself much more. I did that because I love more. But being honest, I will not repeat it again, never. And and I think that that is where you have to do things that you don't like, because love, that is where you have to give some part of yourself to see the other person happy. And I did that, and of course I have a lot of, like, I start to saw a psychologist, and I start to talk about it, because like I was already 1 year and 7 months that I didn't went to Colombia, and saw my family. The weather, the light, like, was too much things that I didn't understand what was happening with me, but I couldn't manage things of a person that was there for me, and under a professional person that was there for me and understand it. So I could say that I am a person that I am very open all the time, because it was not my first time that I was with a psychologist. Indeed, in my past, I was with a psychiatrist too. I was in coaching too before. So it's like I am very open, because I need to express my feelings. And that's why after that, something amazing happened, and Mo proposed.
Really?
So of course that was like, yay! This is like the dream is like the reality, because of course with the PhD they give me only the visa 1 year. So I said, okay, this is a new step. Mo really want to commit with me. This is like the something like what you were saying, Chris, about women and the TikTok and their clock and everything. I said, okay, we are going somewhere. And that helped a lot for me to feel secure. What I was doing in that moment of my life was worth it. And that one day he was going to work and finish his studies, and everything was going to be better. To get there, we first, I don't know why, but you first have to work and suffer a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, he proposed me, and we started to plan our wedding, and that was amazing, and I love it to do everything. That was a plus that I needed in my life. And and then this come to what we do right now in our life, and it's coaching, because thanks that Mo and I, we are from different religions. We wanted to get married in Colombia. And again, family, the dream of the family is get married in the church. And this is very difficult in a Catholic church. All this is extremely difficult. So I have to ask for a permission, and for Mo was more easy. We wanted to get married outside, and the religion didn't let that. We wanted to get in Colombia, the religion didn't let that. So was too much problems, until we met the coach that married us.
Yeah, the coach that did the ceremony with us. It was a very good experience. For me, it was the first time to encounter like a coach, a life coach, because I had never gone through therapy or anything. I was not used to talking to strangers openly about your feelings or openly about like a goal that you had. So for me, it was the first time working with a life coach, especially because we worked with him he's from Bogota, and we were in Germany, and then we were in Bogota in March for a while before we got married.
So I was the one that had the idea, and I said to Mo, what about if we do a symbolic ceremony? Because in Colombia, another thing that is important, Colombia allowed the church do the papers, so you don't have to do two ceremonies. Here in Germany is different. So in Colombia, you can do it once and that's all. So how we were going to manage all these that at the same time again, Germans and the papers. We wanted to make it easy breezy. And I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do something about that both of us, we wanted, that both of us, like, is our dream. My cousin knew about this life coach. And I said to Mo, because I knew that was new for Mo, and I didn't knew that if he wanted to do it or not, because I knew that he is not very open to talk to everyone. So we went there the first session, and was amazing because they connect very well, because the grandpa of this life coach was German for Mo, and that was very special. And we start to go there, or when we were here, we have FaceTimes or Skype moments with him that help us to notice a lot of things that you don't talk, that you think that are obvious, but they are not obvious, and you don't talk in a relationship. That was a good thing for both of us to close some things and open another conversations. After that, I was like, okay, I like this a lot. That came in my mind, and I was like, since I came to Germany, I was like, I am not very happy with my career. I am not very happy with what I am. I need to change. I said, I love to teach. In the past, I teach in Colombia too. And then I said, I would like to do something for another person.
Of course, it was a very nice experience to work with him and to work with, or make this experience that a person can impact you so much by just good coaching, and really showed me that people can have an impact on your life if you want to go in a certain direction, but you don't know how, or you don't know if you're doing it the right way. It can be very helpful to work with a coach. And I knew that especially Juli was playing with the thought of becoming a coach, and indeed she did a training to become a coach. And I was always kind of looking and thinking, should I do it too? Because I was still thinking back to when we were working with that coach in Bogota. I was very impressed by the way she developed herself, the way that she developed her coaching skills.
He was always asking, and what did you learn today? And tell me about it.
Yeah, exactly. The advances that she made throughout this certification, I was very impressed. I was thinking to myself, life is an adventure, and you should do whatever you want. And if you're not sure if you want to do it, you should do it. Because, if you don't want to do it, you know for sure you don't want to do it. But if you're not sure that you don't want to do it, you should do it. Because you don't, that's a very complicated sentence.
No, but I understand what you mean. By doing things you also don't like to do, you realize only by doing them that you don't like it, but then you know what you like and what you don't, and where you want to be and where you don't see yourself. So I think I got the sense of what you wanted to say with that.
Yeah, there's a saying, to summarize it,
In English.
don't knock it till you try it.
Exactly. So I was thinking that, okay, let's see if there's a program, because Juli was already very, very advanced. And I was looking for a program for like a crash course of coaching or something like that. And I indeed found one online that I did for 3 months. It was a very intense program indeed. And we graduated nearly the same day.
Nearly, yes. And that was very nice. And then we start to think about it, how we can do this, how we can help persons, where we can focus. And then we said it like, let's do it with our religion. Our religion is love. So let's start there. start talking about ourselves. There are so many people that they have the same things that are good and bad ones. Why we cannot help them and share with them what is love between cultures, through cultures.
The idea of helping couples like us was born when we were working with that coach for our own wedding, and doing that is a very fulfilling thing.
And help us to understand the not obvious things that we thought that were obvious, and to understand that this will never be easy, not even through the years. That if you are not in the same team, you will not make it. This is like the story of how we start coaching and how we are now. And that, being honest, I love it. It still impact me a lot because I am very sensitive, and affect me a lot to see the persons that I cannot coach and like only to do the accompaniment and nothing else. I can feel what they are talking, and that affects me because I am a human. I have to learn more from the German guy. You have to disconnect, like this is work and this is life, and you cannot be part of their life because you only do an accompaniment. So that is part of learn to be a better professional too.
You make a connection with a couple or a person, and you have to keep in mind that you are touching their life only in a certain moment. That connection that you had with them at a certain point, when they don't need you as a coach anymore, will disappear, and you have to learn to let go a lot.
Yeah, and like Mo said, it's not, for example, we don't only talk exclusive with couples. We can talk only with one person that is in this process, and maybe the couple doesn't want it to talk, but this person wanted to talk. So we can do this coaching with that person, this accompaniment with that person. Because, or for example, sometimes they want to connect with a woman, to connect with a man. Like we offer not only that we have to be both of us there or both of them there. We do like a plan together, and the idea is not be forever and ever, because we feel that is not healthy at the same time. So it's like a process between 5 and 15 sessions.
This is what you're doing. You, throughout the years, if I could summarize it in my own words, Juli moved to Germany in 2016. You moved to the north of Germany, which is completely different to the south of Germany, by the way, because I used to live in the south. So I know what it is to live in the south and how it is to live in the north. Yeah, you struggled a lot in the beginning. You worked at a job you didn't like. You were always worried about your visa situation. You guys got married. You still had to figure out the multicultural differences. You're still working on figuring that out day by day, as you're communicating a lot, as you're very open in your communication. And then finally, after around about 2 years, you were able to set a life for yourself. So it took you 2 years basically to feel comfortable in Germany, more or less. Since you're living in the south of Germany, things are slowly getting better. Or is it still like that you feel like you still don't like Germany and you're looking forward to leave the country and eventually move somewhere else together?
This question is difficult. No, I think that helped me a lot to come to the south of Germany. First of all, the weather is much more nicer. You can see the blue sky much more often. In the north of Germany, it's really a lot gray. Here it's like blue. You can feel the seasons a lot. So when it's summer, it's really summer, and that really helped me. I really need the sun a lot, and the hot weather, I love it and I need it. But at the same time, I love winter and the snow, even though we don't have anymore so much snow, but it's very nice and I appreciate it. So yes, took me 2 years because the south of Germany, the people is more open, they talk more. You find a lot of people that talk in Spanish. It's a little bit more similar, not even, but it's a little bit more similar to what is my city, not even my country, my city. And that helped me a lot, really, to do that. At the same time, I find something that to do more creative in my daily days, and I use my creativity much more, and that helped me a lot. Both of us, we're working, and the economy helps too. We are being honest. Of course, money is not everything in life, but that helps. And let's be honest, I don't want to live in a room or apartment of one room all my life. And plus, I am in an age that I don't want that anymore. Like, I did it, and it was fun. But in this moment of my life, I want another thing. And that doesn't mean that I want to become like a woman that have her house and cook. I really enjoy to have adventures. I really enjoy to explore and do another things. But I moved so much in my life, even when I was a kid, that in this moment, I have to say that I am really happy to be here. And Mo want to live in Colombia? Being honest, I don't.
As I said, I love Colombia. It's a beautiful country. And to get back to the second part of the question, I think the world is our home, and we are kind of not used to settle in our relationship. We have always been traveling a lot in our relationship. As a couple, we have always traveled a lot to see each other, or we have always traveled together a lot. We have lived in a lot of different places, alone or together. Personally, me as well as Juli, we are open to moving to another country, or a dream of mine as well is to again live in another country, because this adventure that you experience and when you are living in another country, you cannot measure it. It's so valuable for your life that you should always take every opportunity that you have to move somewhere new, somewhere where you can get out of your comfort zone and learn about yourself and the world. Right now, we have a beautiful home, and we are feeling very well in our current situation. But that doesn't stop us from taking another opportunity somewhere else as soon as it opens up.
And what we wanted is to be a country that both of us, we don't know the language, both of us, we don't know the culture, both of us, we don't know anything about it. Like, that is our idea in the future. So yeah, that is what we expect in life, because yes, you only have one life.
Seize the opportunity as long as you can.
And do you feel like you want to settle, or do you seem more relaxed, more like as an adventurer, you're very open-minded? I mean, this is what I received from what you just said, towards where the future will bring you. But does that mean that you don't want to settle in a country, or does it mean you want to settle, but you just don't know when it's gonna be and where it's gonna be?
First of all, what means settle? Because that could be different from me.
For me, settling somewhere would be maybe having an apartment.
I would say having a family.
Having a family, yeah. And seeing yourself living in that country for at least 5 or 6 years. So for several years, more than 2 years, I would say.
And another question, having a family, what does that mean?
Having kids.
Wow, that is another difficult question. Because you see very different how I see.
Let me ask it like this: what is settling for you?
Yeah,
it's very interesting that we have very different definitions of what it means to settle. For me, settling is that you find a place that you are going to die in. That sounds extreme. That sounds very extreme. Now that I say it out loud, it's a terrible definition. But for me, that is what settling means. Settling for me means that you find a place and you will never leave it again.
Yeah. For me, settling is more internal than that external. So if you ask me about that, I already have it, because I found what I was looking for so many years, and is peace with myself. So because of that, I would say I already have it.
Yeah.
And what is your idea of settling? I will say that no, for me it's not that. So
that's just like, to clear it up, that's basically what society in general would summarize it.
Yeah, of course.
That's basically what the majority of people would describe as settling somewhere or settling somehow, whatever you want to describe it. It's not like that I see it as settling, because on that I'm totally with you. As long as you are at a stage of your life where you feel comfortable and where you feel like, okay, it feels right, and I want to be here right now, and that's the moment I'm living in. So you're living in the moment. That could be settling for you, but for someone else, it's just like what I described before, and it's what it is for most of the people.
Yes, exactly. That's why I ask you, because we have that conversation too. So, like, because what I said, nothing should be obvious. I prefer first to ask you to know what you think about it, because usually is not the same perspective or what society said or what the culture said. So it's better to ask. And at the same time, when you talk about family, I have my family, and my family is more. So yeah, like that for me, I that doesn't mean that the people that want kids, or if we have kids in the future, because these we are not like, this is not a no, we don't know. Or for example, for Mo, is having a family is means a couple like me. Thank you, mommies, and dogs. For him, dogs are very important. So that is family for him. So yeah, like.
So if you answer this question, if you take the definition, settling is living in a place for 5, 6, or 7 years, I would say I'm ready to settle various times, because I can definitely see myself moving to a country, live there 5, 6, or 7 years, and then move to another country and live there 5, 6, or 7 years, and do that a few times.
Yeah, me too. Even less than 6 or 7.
If you would say, am I ready to settle right now? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say the same.
It's a beautiful home that we have. And it's going to be difficult, but when the opportunity opens up, we will take it.
Or when we search for something new, because that doesn't mean that we don't want to search for something new. Yeah, we will change. It's because at the same time, I think that change are very important and very good. And I think that because I grew up like that, like I changed a lot from house to house, from apartment to another apartment. So I feel the change are very important in life. Like I am not the person that is like, you buy a house and you live forever and ever there. For me, that gives me a conflict only thinking about
that. That is something that is very typical for, I don't know about Bavarians or other German cultural groups, let's call them like that. But for people from Flensburg, my hometown, it's very typical to buy a house, to live in that house, and to die in that house. And that is something where I don't see myself.
Me too.
I don't see myself. That. And one day when we have children, of course, doing that is more difficult. But is it impossible? I do not believe that it is impossible, and I still would do it, or I still would try to do it.
Yeah,
it's like the complete.
Thank you for the good question you asked there, Juli. I think it's important that that settling doesn't mean the same thing for everyone. So it depends on what perspective you see it. Maybe for some people it's a cultural thing as well. It depends on where you're actually from, what you've learned in your life. As you guys stepped out of your comfort zone a couple of times and you always felt comfortable. Maybe it took a while to get there, but after all, you felt comfortable and you were like, okay, that feels good. So why should I set this on a specific place or into a specific place? I can take this feeling with me and project this feeling in another country, another language, another culture. It doesn't mean that it has to stay there with me. So it's gonna develop. And I love, to be honest, that you are not only open-minded, but that you clarify for yourself the question, what does settle mean? So that you share this, and that, because I mean, of course, we get this question quite often as well. So when do you want to settle? Where do you want to settle? For us, it means something else than for other people. Sometimes we don't even know exactly what it means, to be honest, because we just enjoy living in the moment. And it's also quite difficult for others to understand that we don't even know where we are going to live in a few years. And that's completely fine for us. So we don't have a problem with that at all. Of course, we would like to know like a little bit in what direction is it going to go. And of course, we have plans in life, but that doesn't mean that they're set in stone. It could also mean that, like, before it's going to happen, that it's going to change again because we feel more comfortable with the idea of doing something else or living somewhere else. And I do think that as long as you feel comfortable and as long as you're supporting each other, that this word settling is something you can take with you. And it's sticking with you because it's something you believe in, it's something you trust in. And yeah, how would you say, it's a feeling you carry. It's not a word, it's a feeling.
Yeah, totally agree. I will include something else with what you said, and is that if you will be able to confront again what is the difficult things, because for example, in our case, moving to another country is to like dealing again with things that you already knew here in Germany how to do it. So it's like definitely get out of that comfort zone that to start from zero. And if you can make it with what you said about that feeling.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So yes, definitely. No, you're welcome. Thank you for your question. That is very nice.
I feel like we could have on specific topics deeper conversations even. There are still so many things in my head I would love to ask you. Like, for example, what would you do, or how do you deal with if someone is actually questioning your relationship? Because that was something we talked about at the very beginning, that some people even gave you the advice of not getting into the relationship. You got the advice, Juli, of not moving to Germany, and what you do to deal with that, because it can be quite difficult on someone. And I feel like those are all questions we definitely need to get into in detail, because you can't just talk about it in 10 minutes. It's so much more than just scratching the surface. It deserves so much more time, because I know that a lot of couples have this problem, especially in the beginning, that not everyone is supportive. Not all your friends are supportive, not all of your family members. And of course, they're asking questions, and of course, they're asking how serious it is. But I feel like you guys are very open-minded. towards like everything. I mean, this is also why you're coaching. And how can people reach out to you if they have specific questions we couldn't talk about? For everyone who has a bunch of questions to you guys, how can they reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to us is really through our Instagram profile, because that is the channel that we are most active on. We do have our email address embedded in our Instagram profile. So if you pull up our profile, you can just send us an email through the button, or the easiest way is to really just send us a direct message and let us know that you are interested or that you have something on your mind that you need to talk about.
So yes, and after talking about it, of course, we will give phones and we will agree how to do an accompaniment, and we can resolve all the doubts that you have, if it's about coaching or multicultural questions or whatever you want. We are here for you, and we would love to be part of your story of love and help with our story, or even with what is in that moment your problem.
What's your Instagram name?
What is our Instagram name?
Momis.
Okay. It's the Bad Alvarez family.
So we will put it in the show notes. So for everyone who's interested in getting into detail about some specific things, if anyone has questions, which I'm sure you guys will have, because I still have so many. Every question deserves to get into detail, so much more than we actually did already in the call we are having. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story, for being so open-minded, also for talking about topics that are a little bit more sensitive, if you could say so, especially the topic of Juli, asking herself if this could work out, packing her things a couple of times, Mo always convincing her not to leave, and look where you made it to 6 years later. I mean, you started dating in 2014, you didn't know what's gonna expect you. We are in 2020 now. You're living in a very nice apartment in the south of Germany. You know that your journey still didn't end. So you're going to keep on traveling on so many levels, on moving maybe to in another country, but also on an emotional level. And you guys are so amazing, if I could say that. I mean, it's just so inspiring to see you talking about topics that everyone has to deal with, that's dating someone from another culture, and how you manage saying that, of course, it's not always easy, but communication is the key. And as you said before, that not everything is obvious. For example, the question, hey, do you think you will settle, or when are you going to settle, and how will you settle? Which is not an obvious question, because settling for you guys obviously means something else than for us or for someone else. But to go into the detail of love and connecting and everything we talked about, and it's not only, hey, I'm dating someone from another culture and we're having a long distance and then we're closing the distance and everything is fine. No, there is so much more coming afterwards. So, and you always keep on working on your relationship, on your bigger goal, on getting better every day, on making each other better to a better person every day. And for me, it opened my eyes again how important it is to focus on what's important in life. And thank you so much for that. So it means a lot to me that you were so open-minded, that, you just talked, and I loved it. I really enjoyed this conversation.
I could say to people who are wanting to close the distance again, be prepared to hit the wall, the impression hitting the wall.
That is a little bit tough.
Can be very frustrating, and it can be very overwhelming, and the wall might be looking like something that you cannot run through, but you step back and you take up some energy and you knock that wall down, all right?
You can make it.
You can make it. It's worth it. It's the dream, living the dream and living love, and it's so fulfilling, and life is an adventure, and take the opportunity.
And me, thank you very much. Our first podcast. This has been very interesting. It was super nice to meet you, both of you. I love to do this. I hope whenever you want, I would like to do it again. I don't know more, but I would like it.
We can do it again.
Whenever you want, because I really love it. And I hope really when you start your traveling, we can meet here and we can have fun and we can have a dinner like a Colombian and like met in person. I will love that. Like we said in Colombia, or I don't know, I think you're in your country too, Nacho. My house is your house. So you are always...
Mi casa es tu casa.
Sí, muy bien. You're always very welcome. And
thank you.
Yes, thank you for this invitation. I really love it.
Thank you so much.
We enjoy it too.